The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited posted 462 billion naira profit after tax in May 2026, declining from the 481 billion naira declared in April 2026, according to its monthly report summary for May 2026. Hi, welcome to What's Happening. These are our top 10 stories countdown today. At number 10, Hong Kong officials have proposed amending the city's decade-old sexual offences legislation, which originated from the British colonial era, according to the document submitted to lawmakers on Monday. Many sexual-related offences laws in Hong Kong remain rooted in provisions similar to those enacted in England 1956. Under the government's proposed new rules, the city is expected to further specify the scope of rape convictions and establish a statutory definition of consent. The proposed amendment also include the introduction of sexual offences relating to children and victims with mental disabilities. At number 9, at least 2 people died on Wednesday during massive celebrations in Mexico City as the national team advanced to the next round at the World Cup. According to the local government, a 19-year-old woman and a 44-year-old man died of asphyxiation. According to the city's health ministry, authorities have not confirmed the death of a third person reported by local media. The celebrations came after Mexico City, Ecuador, to record their first World Cup knockout win since 1986, sending the co-host into the third round of 16. At number 8, electricity distribution companies collected a total of 801.16 billion naira from electricity consumers between January and April 2026, despite persistent power outages and supply constraints across the country. Data obtained from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has shown the commercial performance fact sheet released by the regulator showed that the 11 discos collected 204.74 billion naira in January, 196.68 billion naira in February, 196.13 billion naira in March, and 203.61 billion naira in April, bringing total revenue for the 4th-month period to 801.16 billion naira. The collections came even as households and businesses endured months of unstable electricity supply caused largely by gas shortages that crippled power generation and forced widespread load shedding, especially in February and March. At number 7, Vice President Kashim Shettima on Wednesday arrived in Dusai, the Jigawa state capital, to attend the 2026 Jigawa Investment Summit scheduled to hold from July 1st to July 2nd. On arrival at the Nuhu Mohammed Sanusi International Airport, Dusai, Shettima was received by the state governor Umar Namadi, his deputy Aminu Gumel, and the deputy governor of Kano State, Murtala Garo. Also on hand to welcome the Vice President were the Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Ahmed, members of the Jigawa State Executive Council, and other top government officials. The News Agency of Nigeria reports that Shettima, the special guest of honor, is expected to declare the summit's theme, Unlocking Opportunities, Driving Sustainable Growth for a Better Jigawa, open. At number 6, fuel marketers have declared that their filling stations will stop selling petrol should the federal government try to enforce price control. The National Publicity Secretary of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Chinedu Okadike, issued the warning on Tuesday during an interview with our correspondent, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Hanneken Lokpobori, warned on Monday that the government would not tolerate profiteering and other practices that exploit fuel consumers. Lokpobori said that though the era of government fixed petrol prices was over, the regulation did not mean regulators should abdicate their responsibility to protect consumers. At number 5, the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association on Tuesday launched Africa's first environmental, social, and governance implementation guide for micro, small, and medium enterprises. The organization urged the federal government to implement policies that promote business sustainability as a foundation for job creation and inclusive economic growth. The guide was unveiled at the 2026 Nigeria Employers Summit in Abuja by the chairman of the NECA ESG Advisory Board, Mr. Femi Jayola. Jayola described it as a landmark initiative to equip MSMEs with practical tools to compete in an increasingly sustainability-driven global business environment. At number 4, men of the Ondo State Police Command have rescued a 61-year-old woman who was abducted by armed men in Owo on June 23, 2026. 2026, it was gathered that armed men broke into the house of the victim at about 2:50 a.m. on the fateful day and took her away. The assailants were also said to have stolen her Toyota Matrix car in the attack. The spokesperson of Ondo State Police Command DSP Abayomi Jimo confirmed the incident in a statement made available to journalists in Akure on Wednesday. According to him, the police operatives overpowered the armed men and successfully rescued the victim and recovered the stolen vehicle. At number 3, the federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening security in the Niger Delta as part of efforts to increase crude oil production, saying that issues of piracy and armed robbery in the region have really gone down. This followed a closed-door meeting with key stakeholders in the oil and gas sector at the 6th Division Headquarters Nigerian Army, Port Harcourt Barracks, Rivers State. Speaking to journalists after the meeting, the Minister of Defense, Christopher Musa, said the engagement was a continuation of previous consultations aimed at assessing progress and identifying solutions to challenges confronting the oil industry. At number 2, the Lagos State government on Wednesday said flash flooding remains an inevitable reality because of the state's coastal location, urging residents not to worsen the situation by dumping refuge on roads and into drainage channels. It said while flash floods cannot be completely prevented in a coastal city like Lagos, the government is committed to reducing their impact through continuous investment in drainage infrastructure, flood control measures, and environmental management. He explained that the state's geography makes it particularly vulnerable to heavy rainfall and temporary flooding, adding that the focus is on mitigating the effect rather than eliminating the phenomenon entirely. At number 1, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited posted 462 billion naira profit after tax in May 2026, declining from the 481 billion naira declared in April 2026. According to its monthly report summary for May 2026, in the month under review, the state-owned company ranked in 4.335 billion naira revenue, crashing from the 4.971 trillion naira recorded in the preceding month. The report also revealed that NNPC paid 4.858 billion naira for 6 months statutorily into the Federation account January to May 2026, soaring from the 3.714 trillion naira paid till April 2026. That's all for today. See you next time on What's Happening.